Hey guys, it's your boy Orcas, and today we are going to be doing my 2024 driver point standings. And we're going from 34 to first. We have 34 full time drivers this season, and 34th is obviously going to be last place, who has the least amount of points. And first place will have the most amount of points, combining with wins and just good races overall. First through 16th also are playoff drivers. So once I get to 16th, that will be the start of the playoff drivers. So with that being said, let's get to it. 34th, I have Hemrick in last place. Colleague is just not a great organization. Their Cup Series has just been getting worse and worse. And Hemrick coming back for another full-time season while the 16th car is now part-time. It's just going downhill. I don't think Hemrick's going to have a good season. 33rd, Todd Gilliland, front row motorsports. Gilliland hasn't shown a ton of promise. I don't think he's going to do that good. It'll be a struggle year for him. 32, Austin Cindric, just also another driver that hasn't been performing. Had a really not good last season, and I think he's going to continue that. 31st, Harrison Burton with the Wood Brothers. Hasn't been very impressive to me. Gonna be another rough year for him. 30th, here we go, Noah Gragson. I don't know why they picked him up, Stewart-Haas. I thought they were trying to get better, but 30th will go to him. And then 29th, right beside him, his teammate, Josh Berry, a rookie. I don't know what Stewart-Haas is doing. Josh Berry has shown some good things, and I guess Noah Gragson did too, but I don't see the potential in them. I don't know what Stewart-Haas is doing, but I hope they make some improvements next year. And I really do hope for the success because I like Stewart-Haas. Two of their drivers I love. It's something, but I'll get to those two favorites when I get to them. 28th, Zane Smith, another rookie, right next to Josh Berry. Do a little bit better than him, but not by much. We'll see. He could sneak in a win, though. I'll say that. This is the first driver I could see sneaking in a win or possibly getting closer to the playoffs than expected. But overall, I just don't see it. Then for Rick Ware Racing, Justin Haley, signed a deal with them, left Colleague, and now here he is. And he's at the 27th spot. And I should mention 28th is where I start thinking these drivers are capable of getting a win or making the playoffs off of points somehow. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't think any of these drivers, 28th through probably 20th, could get in with just points alone. I think they need to have a win in order to make the playoffs. But yeah, that's just how I see it. So yeah, I was saying Justin Haley had one good race last year, qualified for the Coliseum, but he could sneak in a win, like I said, but he'll have to get lucky. 26, Ricky Stenhouse, which was a playoff driver last year, but I think personally he was getting pretty lucky. I don't see him repeating that. He had the Daytona 500 win and then was decently consistent through the regular season, but like I said, he'll have to get lucky to make the playoffs, which will be with a win. Because I'm pretty sure if he didn't get that win last year, he wouldn't have made the playoffs off of points. So he'll have to get another win in order to make the playoffs for sure. And then we got Austin Dillon, which is a shocker. A lot of people would say he'll have a bounce back year, but I disagree. I don't see him having a bounce back year. I think he's going to continue to struggle, and RCR is going to have to answer some questions, because if they want to be a serious organization, they're going to need to have consistent drivers. And if Austin Dillon has another season like this, like I predict, they're going to have some questions on their hands. But fortunately, one of their drivers makes the playoffs, which I'll get to later. 24th is Hocevar. And see, Hocevar being better than Barry and Smith by about 4 placements. He will be the Rookie of the Year. I see him having a good amount of decent races, but will fail to make the playoffs unless he gets a lucky win. And yeah, that's what I see for Hocevar. He'll be the Rookie of the Year. He'll show some promise, and I think he'll probably improve by next year as well. 23rd, it pains me to do this, but Ryan Preece, unless he gets a win, which I think he could do, he's not making the playoffs. But he'll have to get a win, and it'll have to be a lucky win, like possibly a good short track win or a super speedway win or maybe a road course win. But there's only a few road courses this year, less compared to last year, so he'd have to get lucky and perform well in one of those races. But I have him at 23rd, not making the top 20, which is sad for me. But I think he'll put on a couple races that I'll be happy with at least. Corey LaJoie, 22nd. Now LaJoie, he will be the best Spire Motorsports driver. He is the veteran. I think he'll show some promise. Maybe he could definitely get a win this year, but I don't see it in him this year. But yeah, like I said, he'd have to get lucky with a win. I think he'll show some promise though, and I think Spire will hang on to him after this season, after showing a lot of promise. And who knows, maybe in the next couple of years he could make the playoffs. 21st, this will shock people, is Suarez. I foresee Suarez not having a good year, and Trackhouse, like Richard Childress, will have some questions on their hands, like, do they need to get another driver? Should they move up Zane Smith or Hocevar in Spire and move them up to the Trackhouse roster? It's going to be tough questions for these teams by the end of the regular season. But yeah, I don't see Suarez making the playoffs unless he gets a road course win. That's the only way I can see him getting a win, is by a road course. And like I said, there's only a couple road courses this season that he can do it in. And by the way, I don't think I mentioned this, but this is the regular season point standing. So if these drivers get good finishes in the playoffs and you count playoff standings points, it doesn't count. This is regular season. So Suarez at 21st. This will shock people, is John Hunter Nemechek in 20th. And I see him having a good season because Legacy has really improved their game. They have really improved their game. And I think Nemechek will have an impressive season, and Legacy will definitely hold on to him. I think John Hunter Nemechek has a promising future in the Cup Series. And I have him at 20th. Chase Briscoe at 19th. I think he'll have a good year, but he still will fail to make the playoffs, which is sad for me as a Stewart-Haas fan, as a Briscoe fan, one of my favorite drivers. Just a couple spots short of making the playoffs. Michael McDowell, back-to-back pain and misery. I don't think Michael McDowell is making the playoffs this year. He was fighting for the win with Chase Elliott for Indianapolis. He got the win, but it's going to take a lot more than that this year for him to make the playoffs. The competition is stronger this year, and Michael McDowell will really have to impress in order to make the playoffs, and I hope he does. I really hope he does, because I can see him making the playoffs, even off of points. I could see him doing that, but he's in the 18th spot, just a couple points short for me. And 17th, the last person to not make the playoffs, is Alex Bowman. And a lot of people have him making the playoffs, and I took that into account. These people know what they're talking about. They've watched NASCAR longer than me, so they must know what they're talking about. But for me, he had that injury. I don't think he got surgery this season like Hamlin and Elliott did. So I don't see him making the playoffs. He'll just be one spot short. Now we get to number 16. This is the playoffs here. And the first person I have making the playoffs is Brad Keselowski. And I could see him having another repeat year like last year. He might get 0 wins and make the playoffs. That's what I can see in him. But I do have him making the playoffs regardless. And He was the first person to make it. And there we go for number 15, Erik Jones. And this is a relief. One of my favorite drivers, Michael McDowell, I don't think will make the playoffs, but my second favorite driver, Erik Jones, does. So I'll have something to be happy about this season. I can see him definitely getting a win on a super speedway, possibly the Daytona 500. We'll have to see about that, but I think he will make the playoffs with either points or he gets a win here. And that will be satisfying enough for me. And 14th, Bubba Wallace makes the playoffs again. I think now he's established himself, and I think now he'll consistently make the playoffs. He could have like years in and out not making the playoffs, but I expect him to have another playoff year. I think he'll get at least one win, whether it comes at Kansas or a super speedway. He is going to get a win, and he'll make the playoffs once again. 13th, I got Chris Buescher. Had a great season last year. Very impressive what RFK did. And I expect him to repeat it. He'll get 1 or 2 wins this season, and both RFK Fords make the playoffs once again. Keselowski 16th, Buescher 13th. And at 12th, we got Ty Gibbs, everyone's favorite driver. And it's definitely going to be a great regular season between Ty Gibbs and some other veteran drivers. I'll say that much. I don't think Gibbs is going to be pulling any punches this season. He's going to be doing whatever he can to get those wins. And this year will be his first win in the Cup Series, funny enough. And I think it will be very entertaining, and he'll get 1 or 2 wins. Number 11, we got Tyler Reddick. Another solid driver. I definitely think he's going to get a win this year, whether it comes from one of the road courses or any other track. He can win any track on the schedule, so he definitely makes the playoffs with 1 or 2 wins. Number 10, Ross Chastain, definitely going to make the playoffs again. He'll definitely show that Trackhouse might need to change drivers once Suarez has another not good year. Chastain will definitely keep his spot, though. Trackhouse has found their star driver, and Chastain will make the playoffs once again. Now at the number 9 spot, we're in the top 10 now. Failed to mention that, but Chastain is 10th. Now at number 9, we got Kyle Busch. I think he'll be more consistent this year than he was last year. He had those early 3 wins and then fell off a little bit, but I think this season he'll be more consistent. I think he'll have 2 wins this year, but he'll be more consistent throughout the year. Like, he's not just going to have that huge spike and then just go down. He'll be consistent throughout the season. He'll get 2 wins, guaranteed playoff driver. Then we got Joey Logano, veteran driver. He's on the hot seat right now. A lot of people don't like him for the fight he had with Ty Gibbs, but he'll prove himself on the track. He'll get 2 wins this year, possibly 3. And he'll be in the playoffs guaranteed, and I don't think he's going to have a top 16 exit. Christopher Bell at number 7. I think he'll have a repeat good year. He only had 1 win last year, I believe, in the regular season anyway. He had another win in the playoffs, but I think he's going to bounce back this year. He'll get 2 wins, maybe 3. And he'll be another driver for sure and a threat for the championship 4 again, for sure. But he's at number 7. Number 6 is Ryan Blaney, the championship driver. He'll make the playoffs again pretty easily. He'll get 2 or 3 wins for sure. And definitely a playoff lock. If he doesn't make the playoffs this year, I'd be shocked. Number 5, everyone's favorite driver, Chase Elliott. Definitely going to have a bounce back year for sure after not making the playoffs last year. He'll definitely get 3 wins, maybe even 4. Everyone's going to remember how good he was, even though I wasn't there to see how good he was, but I think he'll prove to everyone why he's the favorite driver for most. And number 4, we got the top 5, failed to mention that, but top 5, starting with Chase Elliott. At number 4, we got Martin Truex Jr., one of my favorite drivers as well. He'll definitely have 3 wins, possibly 4 again, and he'll make the championship well, he might make the championship 4, but he'll make the end of the playoffs with ease. And he'll definitely squash those retirement questions. Number 3, William Byron had a great season last year, had the most wins out of the whole season with 6. I think he had 4 in the regular season, then 2 playoff wins. But he'll definitely make the playoffs. He could probably get 3 or 4 wins again, and definitely make the playoffs. And here we go. It's between Hamlin and Larson, and I got Larson at number 2. He'll definitely have another good year this year. He'll definitely be a threat for the championship. I have him at number 2 with 3 or 4 wins. And then at number 1, I got Denny Hamlin for the regular season points leader. Denny Hamlin going to have a great year. This is his year, guys. This is his year. It's been hyped up. The documentary, he was a star, just won the Coliseum. He's on everyone's minds for the championship, and he's going to deliver this regular season, and that's for sure. He'll have probably 5 to 6 wins, and yeah, he's going to be the talk of the season, and people are either gonna love it or hate it, and I will be on the end of loving it. Like, I hope Hamlin gets the championship. I hope he wins the championship. And I hope he does good this year so everyone can shut up about him not having a championship. This will be his year. I have him making or winning the championship, but that could change depending on how the season goes. But right now, I have him at the regular season points leader. Denny Hamlin is your regular season points leader. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, 16th through 1st is the playoff drivers. 17th through 34 are the drivers that failed to make the playoffs. So I'll repeat it again. My playoff drivers, Brad Keselowski, Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher, Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex, William Byron, Kyle Larson, and Denny Hamlin. Those are your playoff drivers. Thank you for watching. I will have probably another video up this week. It could be Star Wars. I haven't gotten a Star Wars video out yet, and I've wanted to, but I've had some complications. But I will have a Star Wars video out, I promise you. All right, have a good one.